Look at the little belly wobble and everything. Solar eclipse. Were you an annoying sibling? Ladies and gentlemen of Classified Captures Land, this is your host, Steve here. Sorry, I'm in England right now, so I'm starting to get the whole England thing going, you know, cup of tea, cha-cha, what. Anyway, this is the new episode of Classified Captures. Hope you enjoy. Have you ever asked for a sign from your loved ones and received a dust devil instead? Well, me neither. For the person recording this clip, however, it's a different story. She went to the cemetery to hang out with her dead mom. Wait, is hang out the right thing to say in this case? I guess it is. Anyway, after spending time with Mommy, she asked for a sign that Mommy was actually out there listening to her. Some seconds after her request, a dust devil forms some meters from her and rushes towards her, passing on top of her mom's grave and moves away. And this got her all emotional, and she posted it online. Some in the community believe this is her mom's way of letting her know that she's being taken care of, but others don't buy it. They think spirits and demons are messing with her and taking advantage of her grief. Well, you've seen the clip now, so you tell me what you think your take is. As you share your thoughts on that, allow me to ask you for something else. Have you heard of the Appalachian creatures that grab people? No? Well then listen, lest you become a victim. Meet the Hide Behind. For those unfamiliar with it, it's a legendary nocturnal creature that famously stalks lone travelers in the woods, possessing the uncanny ability to continuously keep itself concealed behind a tree trunk or object, no matter how quickly an observer turns to look. And that's exactly what you're seeing it do in the clip on your screen. Typically, these things are found in Appalachia, and the people there know how to deal with them. The worrying thing now is that some people are actually capturing them in cities now. In the image on your screen, it's hiding behind the pole in a human settlement. The uploader swears he has seen them around. Many believe him, and a few have shared their experiences. Personally, I'm tempted to call it the two forbidden letters, but what do you guys also think? If you've ever seen any of these creatures or heard stories about them from a close family member, please share. I mean, it's obvious that it's AI, but I gotta tell you, look at the little belly wobble and everything that's going on. It's just getting to the point these days where it's starting to get so difficult trying to figure out what's real and what's not. I mean, if this was real, it would be a game changer for science, right? But it's obvious that it's not. I mean, come on.
Hold it in. Keep it down. It's twisting. Watch the tail. Keep it down. Oh, God. Hit it. Don't tighten. Don't let it slip. Yeah, it's loose. Grab it. It's looking right at me.
Okay, the solar eclipse. My God. This week I've been in a seaside village on the south coast of England called Worthing. Everybody went down to a little village right next door to Worthing called Goring to watch this solar eclipse happen yesterday. I was more interested about the fact that the amount of people that went to this thing. The traffic for about 3 hours afterward was just ridiculous. Ridiculous. My God, people are sheep. They just follow each other in the same direction just because everybody else is going there, and then you end up with carnage. Now, look at this and tell me, What comes to mind immediately as you're seeing this clip? Do you suddenly think meteor or alien? My mind went straight to alien, but that could be because I was expecting something like that. I mean, after all, well, this is classified captures. The clip was captured by a flight attendant on Aeroflot flight SU-1289 moving from Ulyanovsk to Moscow. Her name is Alexandra Spaskia, and she deserves all the credit for the photograph. It looks beautiful, but the paranormal community is at it again. While Spaskia believes she was capturing meteors entering our atmosphere, the community believes she captured evidence of aliens entering our planet in disguise. A part of me really wishes and hopes that's true. I mean, take a look at how they split up in the atmosphere. It's almost as though they're ships moving in different directions. Well, at least that's what I see and think when I look at these. But what about you? What do you also think? Many people love to receive spicy pictures from their girlfriends, but what if yours came with a spirit in the background? Pay attention to the background of the image on your screen. Do you see it? There's something out there that looks like it's holding its head the way you do when you're tired of drama. I know that's me stretching it, but it's probably because of the context within which the image was taken. So the lady in the image was actually upset when she sent this to her boyfriend, and she asked him to come over and spend the night with her. He refused, saying it was not convenient. Well, she was not happy with that and sent this image after complaining a lot to him. Her boyfriend was initially confused and wondered who or what that was. Given the fact that she was alone, many think that's a spirit in her room. They also think it's holding its head because it's tired of her nagging and complaining. Crazy, but what if that's actually the case? Pay attention to the clouds in this one. There's something hiding in it. Did you catch it? There was a ship in the clouds as the aeroplane was coming out of it. Once it noticed it had been spotted, it moved back into the clouds almost as though it was playing hide-and-seek. This one has been trending for a few days now, and I didn't know what to think or make of it. So I showed it to the team, and they think it might be legit. My video editor and Julius, on the other hand, believe this might be a doctored piece of footage, but what do you guys think? Now, you guys remember our tick saga some months ago. Well, it appears it's far from over. A farmer was on his farm when he heard a helicopter moving around. Initially, he didn't think much of it because, although not common, it was not impossible to see a helicopter around where his land was. After a few minutes, however, he noticed that the helicopter was flying lower than they usually do. What's more, it seemed to be circling around his farmland. Confused, he went in the direction of the helicopter, and that's when he noticed it. The helicopter was actually dropping some tiny particles on his farm, and when he got closer, he noticed these were no particles. They were in fact ticks. Well, it scared and startled him, but there was basically nothing he could do. The helicopter flew off, leaving him standing in his confusion. Eventually, he even found a moose dead on his farmland. Now, if this is a true story, well, why do you think they would be doing this? And speaking of them, who do you think is behind this? Looks like a creature of nightmares cooked up using AI, but this is actually real. Meet the three wattled bellbird. The male has three strange fleshy wattles hanging from their face, making them look less like a bird and more like something from a horror movie. But its appearance isn't even the weirdest part. This bird has one of the loudest calls in the world, producing a deep metallic sound that can be heard from more than half a mile away. And when it calls, it throws its beak wide open and lets out a sound that, honestly, sounds more like a monster than a bird. Fortunately, those bizarre wattles are only found on the males. And you gotta admit, though, nature really went all out with this one. Stolen animals, or possibly Bigfoot. Well, what do you think this might be?
What is that?
Well, I'm confirming it. That's Godzilla or Bigfoot.
What the hell is that?
Is any of you familiar with this sound? Some say it's a cow moose, others think it's the big guy. The clip was captured by a father out with his son. They claim the creature wasn't just making these strange, almost painful noises, but was also knocking trees down as it moved through the woods. The boy can even be heard calling it Godzilla, but his dad doesn't say much. Once the clip went online, the Moose versus Bigfoot debate began. And you heard the sound now. For those of you who live in this area that has moose, well, what do you think?
What is that?
Well, I'm confirming it. That's Godzilla or Bigfoot.
What the hell is that?
This clip was captured by a pilot flying over Urupan, Mexico and Is there anybody here in the comments section who can help me with this, please? Because I'm going to get this wrong, okay? Please write this in the comments. But apparently it's Uruapan, Michoacan, Mexico. Jeez. When a strange object suddenly appeared near the aircraft. The object looks dark, flat, and almost diamond or rhomboid shaped. According to the original post, the pilot used a high-end mobile phone to record it, giving us a pretty clear look at the strange object as it moved through the sky. The footage only lasts about 34 seconds, but the fact that it was reportedly filmed by a commercial pilot makes it even more interesting. There's no obvious explanation for what we're looking at. It could be some kind of aircraft or object seen from an unusual angle, but others believe this could be something far more mysterious. And by mysterious, I mean our neighbors from, you know where. It's either this or it's AI. So you've seen the clip, tell me what your verdict is. Now this has happened to me, only with a burger. So I can, she's looking around, doesn't realize. I love seagulls, they're the funniest birds ever. But yeah, they'll attack the shit out of you if you got food. End of story. Has this ever happened to you? Tell me in the comments section. Let's see who's got the wildest, most outrageous seagull story there is. So mine is that I was on a pier like this and one came down and took the whole burger from my... just as I was biting the thing. What about you? Speaking of flight, let's head over to the skies of New Jersey. This was supposed to be a time-lapse capturing the beauty of the night sky. You guys might not know this about me, but I actually love these kinds of videos. There's something about watching the sky move that makes you stop and appreciate nature. This one, however, feels like we might have more than nature at play. Do you see those little dots moving across the sky? When this clip started making the rounds, many in the paranormal community were convinced that they were alien ships moving through our skies, and honestly, when I first saw it, I kind of thought the same thing. But then I started digging. Turns out this footage was actually filmed in 2024, not 2026, and despite being shared as something happening over New Jersey, sources online trace it back to Hillsborough, Wisconsin. It was reportedly filmed by YouTuber Todd Brown. The strange moving lights were also explained as satellites reflecting sunlight, with some of the other lights appearing to be aircraft that had simply been mislabeled as UFOs. And I'll admit, that explanation does sound pretty convincing. But I went back and watched the clip several more times, and I gotta say, I still like the alien version better. What do you guys think? Satellites and aeroplanes, or something a little more interesting? The MJ theories just never die. Currently, this theory states that MJ died in the 80s and the man that we came to love simply isn't MJ. Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing this particular theory, but according to the lady who shared this, investigators found a body that they suspected was Michael Jackson and conducted DNA testing. The DNA testing revealed it was the real Michael, and he may have died somewhere between 1979 and 1980. Wild, yeah, I know. The individual compared faces of Michael Jackson over the years and pointed out how the changes became drastic in the 80s. That, to them, was proof that Michael was not Michael. But is that really the case? Come on. Well, I did some digging into the investigator the lady mentioned in her analysis, and this is what I found. In other words, the whole story was built on a satirical production by The Onion. And if you didn't know The Onion already, they're a satirical media house that pulls off stunts like this. So yeah, no conspiracy here, as disappointing as that might sound. I know, I'm bad. Ow! I hate dolls, everyone knows that. The uploader of this clip, however, might hate herself. She went out to a flea market and thought it would be great to buy a doll and send it home, so she got a Ventry. You guys know what I mean. The dolls those voice actors use on stage by sticking their hands up its ass. After packing everything, she forgot it on the porch and went to bed. When she woke up and went out, she saw it, but it was not in the box, it was sitting upright. That confused her a bit. She knew she had packed the whole thing when going to bed. She went to review her CCTV cams and found nothing. The camera has a motion sensor, so if anything, she would have expected to have gotten a notification, but there was nothing. And when she went through the snapshots, she discovered that at one point the doll was in the box and the next, it was seated upright. She uploaded this online asking what to do and whether to keep the doll. You now understand why I mentioned she might not like herself? Well, you still want to know whether to keep it after all these signs? You know what? Let's move on to the next clip.
You go a little bit further. And at 2:06, it opens up by its fucking self. And that's his face facing us.
This one was sent to us by a subscriber of the channel. He'd uploaded it online on many paranormal platforms and had gone viral. I watched it over and over, and well, I gotta say it really looks realistic. Engaged the subscriber on it, and this is all he had to say. Trust me, this is real. I saw it with my own eyes. Okay. You tell me what you guys think. Now this next one is old, very old. This was captured in Italy in the year 2003. Back when it was first captured, it was kept under wraps because no one wants to be the face of public ridicule for believing in something as silly as aliens. In recent times, however, that's not the case. Many believe aliens are out there, and a number of them are treating this as part of the earliest authentic footage. If what we are seeing is true, it leaves one uncomfortable question. What are the aliens really here for? Why have they been visiting the planet as far back as 2003? Is there something we're missing? Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I thought they'd been coming here a hell of a lot longer than that if Area 51's got anything to go by, but, kindly share your thoughts anyway. We've shown this before. This one looks similar and very much the same. Do eclipses do something to our atmosphere? I'm not exactly sure about that, but one of the explanations I saw for this is that it has to do with light passing through a tiny space between leaves. As interesting as that sounds, the rays from the sun do the exact same thing to leaves during normal days, but we don't get any such effort. What makes the eclipse different? Can one of you with a little more knowledge on this than me enlighten the rest of us?
Looks strange. I've never seen it before.
Now, I know you expected to see strange spirits on this trail cam. This one is just as paranormal. Instead of strange spirits, though, we get to see rabbits and high spirits. Tell me that doesn't do something to your heart. Maybe I should adopt a rabbit. You might want to buckle up for this one. No, that's not someone's stomach. This was actually found in a tree and it talks. Yeah, that was my reaction when I first saw this. How did we get here, you might be wondering? Well, it's simple. The uploader was out exploring the woods with his friends when they came across this strange but interesting-looking tree with a hole in it. Curious to see what was inside the tree, they lowered their phone into it while recording. The result is what you are currently seeing on your screen. The funny thing is the tree or creature or whatever this thing is spoke to him. I've done some research and still can't make out what we're looking at. Maybe some of you can help.
Maybe that's the leftover swimmers. I don't know.
What do you think it is?
A man and his neighbors had been hearing strange and bizarre sounds at night. While they'd become accustomed to hearing these sounds, it didn't sound like any animal they knew. This both frightened and intrigued them, but no one was going to risk their lives to find out what it was, until our man filming did. In the dark, he could see something move, albeit it was very dark, so he couldn't really see its full form. By some stroke of luck, he was able to take some pictures, and after working on them for a bit, they came out a tad clearer. But what he had captured was unclear. He uploaded the captures online, and many opinions came up. Some thought he'd captured a raptor, which is a small to medium-sized bipedal theropod known for its sharp claws, agility, and carnivorous nature. Some also thought it looked more like a terror bird, which is a large, flightless predatory bird from the Cenozoic era, known for its powerful beak, strong legs, and ability to chase down prey in prehistoric ecosystems. The thing with these two suggestions is that they are extinct. This hasn't, however, stopped some from thinking and believing this is the real deal. There's a popular belief among some paranormals that dinosaurs may not be as extinct as we thought, and may just be hiding within the hollow earth and resurfacing once in a while. Wild, I know, but do you have another explanation for this?
So this USB cable right here cost me over 350,000 naira. The question is why? This is just an ordinary cable that you can plug into your iPhone and it charges the phone. But this is not just an ordinary USB cable. This is actually a hacking tool.
Have you ever borrowed a phone charging cable? You might want to think twice before doing it again. A new type of USB cable has surfaced and it poses a serious security risk. This innocent-looking cable has an inbuilt memory chip and functions as a hacking tool. When you plug it into your phone to charge, your device powers up as expected, but that's not all. Unbeknownst to you, the person who gave you the cable can gain unauthorized access to your phone. They can retrieve sensitive data, passwords, and other personal information without you ever realizing it. Originally, this type of cable was reportedly used by the NSA as part of their high-level surveillance operations. However, after an internal memo was leaked, the technology made its way into the mainstream, where it can now be exploited by cybercriminals. So always be cautious about those cables you're using. Carry your own charging equipment whenever you go out to avoid falling victim to this sneaky method of hacking.
And these cables come in all forms, type A, type C, even lightning like this one. And here's the funny thing, it works on both iOS and Android seamlessly.
A group of friends decided to go on an adventure deep into the woods one night. The thrill of exploring the unknown had them excited, but as they ventured further, an unsettling feeling began to creep over them. It was as if something was watching them, lurking just out of sight.
What the fuck is that?
One of the guys, feeling particularly uneasy, pulled out his phone and started to scan the surroundings with the flashlight on. That's when he saw it. In the darkness, there stood a massive figure, towering and menacing, staring directly at them. The sheer size of the creature was enough to send chills down their spines. As soon as the creature realized it had been spotted, however, it quickly ducked behind some nearby bushes. The footage is very blurry, so we cannot make out the creature well, but the boys described the creature as having the proportions of a Bigfoot, large, hairy, and with an unmistakable presence. The sighting was brief, but it left them all shaken. Was it really a Bigfoot, or could it have been something else entirely? Personally, I'm not buying it, but please do share your thoughts.
What the fuck is that? Do it again. It feels like shit, Mitch.
Wild, right? If you're anything like me, you're probably wondering how he's still alive, and the answer is simple: science, or insulation, depending on how you interpret things. Electricity is one of the most important resources in this modern world, but as important as it is, it's also dangerous. This video right here shows an electrical lineman working with a high-voltage power line. From the clip, we can only see his hands and arms, and that's enough to give us an idea of how he's still alive. He's wearing gloves and protective gear. Although he's working with super high voltage, his special gear keeps him insulated. The tiny sparks we see are only there because of tiny bits of electricity jumping between the wire and the lineman's body, like a small electric tug-of-war happening really fast, maybe 60 times a second. As cool as they look, you won't survive interacting with them without special gear, so stay away from electricity or enjoy it from afar, like we're doing with this clip.
Do it again. It feels like shit, Mitch.
Look at this dead insect, or at least what's left of it. Half of its body is eaten away and the inside looks torn apart like something ripped through it from the inside. By all accounts, this thing should be completely dead, and yet it's still moving and walking around. That's creepy, right? But what if I told you this isn't the first time we've seen something like this? These kinds of sightings have been popping up more and more, insects that appear hollowed out or mutilated, yet somehow still twitching, crawling, or dragging themselves around. Some believe it's the work of parasites like zombie fungi such as Ophiocordyceps, which take control of the host's body even after it's technically dead. Others say it could be nerve reflexes or post-death spasms, but that wouldn't explain how some of these bugs keep walking in straight lines or appear to act like they're still alive. Whatever the case is, this insect should be dead, but it's not, and that's disturbing. A family was driving home late one night when they encountered something truly strange on a quiet, dark stretch of road. At first, everything seemed normal until they noticed something unusual up ahead. In the distance, through the darkness, a series of strange lights began to flicker. At first they thought it might be headlights from another car, maybe a reflection, but this wasn't any ordinary light. Floating above was a strange starfish-shaped object emitting a pulsating glow. The lights blinked in and out, and the object appeared to be moving up and down slowly, almost like it was bobbing in mid-air. They piled over to the side of the road and began filming. The object hovered silently in the distance. They watched it for several minutes, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. There were no wires, no sound, and no explanation. Some people believe this could have been a UFO. The strange hovering motion, the blinking lights, and the unexplainable shape all seem to fit classic UFO sightings. Others suggest it might have been a plasma entity, which is a naturally occurring but extremely rare phenomenon where energy takes on a visible free-floating form. Plasma life forms are often theorized by fringe scientists as a possible explanation for certain sightings that don't seem to match any known aircraft or animal. But skeptics say it was probably just a drone or a trick of the light. So what do you think it was? Strange things have been happening across East Idaho. Residents have reported hearing loud, unexplained booms that are so powerful they shake homes. These booms occur multiple times a week and have left many baffled. While some local news outlets have attributed the sounds to skyquakes, many believe there's more to the story. One Idaho resident, Aaron, has been sharing his experience on TikTok.
This has been happening all over East Idaho in several small towns, especially out in the country where it's quieter. But we've been hearing loud booms, like explosions, specifically at night, over the past 2 months.
He's been documenting the mysterious booms even after allegedly being approached by law enforcement and asked to take his videos down.
Shortly after posting my video about the booms, I have a law enforcement friend. He came over to my house and said, "Hey, Aaron, it'd be a good idea to pull the video you posted about the booms and not talk about it anymore." He didn't tell me if he knew what they were or what they were doing it for, but he says as an agency, they've been told to deny, deflect, and diffuse.
Aaron refused, continuing to post updates and theories about what might be causing these earth-shaking sounds. Things got even weirder when a seismologist who had set up devices to investigate the phenomenon and was preparing to release a story about the booms suddenly passed away from a heart attack.
Before they could actually run the story, he had a heart attack. And he's gone. So that got me thinking that there's something going on with these booms that we're not supposed to know about. So if I stop making videos, guys, you'll know why.
This unexpected death only fueled speculation, with many wondering if there was a deliberate effort to suppress information. However, Aaron's most recent video has raised even more concern among his followers. In this clip, Aaron is seen cooking beans and salted pork, but viewers couldn't help but notice that something was off.
I've been talking a lot about the booms lately, and today I'm going to show you how to make natural booms. And that's with beans.
He appeared not quite like his usual self. Some even speculated that he might have been coerced or tampered with in some way. Could the higher-ups have gotten to Aaron? Are these strange booms connected to something being hidden from the public? What do you think is happening in East Idaho?
Just because I know a lot of you are worried about me, so I want to get a video out just to let you know I'm okay and everything's normal. We're even still talking about the booms a little bit. Just cooking the beans.
Moving on, we've got what I like to call one of the closest encounters we have ever shared.
Watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
This clip starts off with a man singing and telling himself not to crash because he came skiing when he told his wife he was at work. It was a humorous start, and I was expecting something funny to happen until his GoPro, which is what I'm assuming he's using, caught wind of something humanoid walking to his right. From what we briefly see, it's humanoid with a human gait and fur all around. There's no way that area has chimps living it, which leads to one conclusion. That's right, the big guy, Bigfoot. Most individuals like myself always suspect the Yeti would be the one to be found in these areas, but perhaps I and everyone else like me is wrong. What do you think?
Watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
Someone cracked open an egg and noticed this strange stringy thing inside. They took it out, wondering what it was. Well, this is called the chalaza. It might look weird or even a little gross, especially if you're not used to seeing it, but it's completely normal and not a bad thing at all. The chalaza is just a natural part of the egg. It's the little twisted rope-like structure that helps hold the yolk in place in the center of the egg. Kind of like a support system keeping everything stable. So no need to freak out if you see it. It's not a worm, it's just a sign of a fresh egg. This video from Romania has people all over the internet talking. A man was digging when he stumbled upon something embedded in some rocks in the soil. As he cleared away the dirt, a massive skull began to take shape. Just look at that, it's huge. But the real question is, what could this possibly be? At first glance, many thought it could be a dragon skull. The size, the structure, it almost looks like something pulled right out of mythology. Just look at those sharp features and the long shape of the jaw. Some are convinced it's proof that dragons or dragon-like creatures once walked the earth. But not everyone agrees, as expected. Those who disagree argue that it looks a lot like a dinosaur fossil, possibly the skull of a prehistoric predator. The argument is that dinosaurs are known to have existed, so the idea of finding a new or unidentified species isn't that far-fetched, especially in a region like Romania, which has a long history of ancient fossil discoveries. Still, the dragon theory has not gone away. Romania, after all, is a land rich with myths and legends, from vampires to forest spirits and, yes, even dragons. So it makes sense for people to tie this find to something out of folklore. There are some who also believe he's faking the whole thing, that he sculpted a stone to look like that. I won't pretend to be an expert on archaeological finds, but I'm sure there's one of you who knows about this subject. Care to enlighten and help us? Is this the real deal, or is someone just messing with us? Let's dive into another mystery, this time from Japan. Residents in a quiet community captured these intriguing images during the evening, and they've left everyone puzzled. In the photos, you can see 9 glowing pillars of light piercing through the sky. These radiant beams appeared to stretch from the sky into the air, yet no one in the area reported seeing anything on the ground that could have produced them. No large lights, no machinery, nothing. What makes this even more bizarre is that there's no clue or explanation as to how these lights got there. Some speculate there could be a rare atmospheric phenomenon, perhaps caused by ice crystals reflecting light. Others are convinced this is evidence of something otherworldly, like a signal or a portal. So what do you think these mysterious light pillars could be? What would you do if you found human remains while exploring the woods? Leave the place and not return, right? Well, the individual who recorded the upcoming video did the exact opposite, and this is why. They wanted to get to the bottom of whatever they had encountered. When they returned, they hung a trail camera in the area and captured what you're seeing on your screen. In the beginning, they didn't know what it was that they were looking at, but after a few seconds, it became apparent. It was definitely the big guy. Although we don't see much of him, from what we do see, we can tell he's huge. He appears to have fur all over his body and moves those branches with ease, which will suggest strength or muscle, as some like to put it. While many in the paranormal community are convinced these guys may have caught a glimpse of the Bigfoot, some are skeptical. They feel the whole thing might have been a setup. Even among those who don't think it's a setup, something doesn't sit right. What was Bigfoot doing with human remains? I guess we'll never really know. The theory of petrification isn't something that everyone believes in, but there are still some pretty wild pieces of evidence out there that make you wonder if it might be true. Someone recently shared an image of this strange-looking rock, and it doesn't even look like a rock. It looks like the head of a creature that's been turned to stone. You can see the mouth, the teeth, and even the overall shape of the face. It's honestly too realistic to just brush off. If you zoom in on some of the details, especially around the jawline, it resembles something that was once alive, almost like a petrified wolf. That's the part that's freaking a lot of people out. Now, while some believers think this could be an example of petrification, others are saying it's actually handmade, not a naturally formed rock. Still, even if it was carved, the level of detail has left people questioning if it's just art or maybe something more. Could petrification be real in some rare cases, or are we just seeing the work of a very talented artist? Still, on May the 16th, something else happened in St. Louis. A tornado swept through the area, catching a lot of people completely off guard. Many locals shared their experiences on social media, and one thing stood out. Some had no idea a tornado was even happening. They said it was just hit suddenly without warning. Two men who were working outside in a truck shared how they watched in shock as a tree fell right in front of them, and the roof was ripped off a nearby tractor. Thankfully, they were safe, but many homes and properties weren't so lucky. Now, here's where it gets strange. A commenter who claims they were also in St. Louis says there was a tornado warning 3 days prior and even mentioned a siren alert that lasted 2 hours. So now, who's telling the truth? Were warnings really issued and some people just didn't see them, or was something off with how the alerts were shared? If you were in St. Louis on May the 16th, let us know what you experienced, because if some people were informed and others weren't, we need to understand why. Have you heard the name Dolores Cannon? She was a hypnotist who had an interesting ideology. She was a renowned hypnotherapist, past life regressionist, and author who developed a unique method of hypnosis known as the quantum healing hypnosis technique, or QHHT for short. She spent over 50 years working in the field and wrote several books based on the information she gathered from her clients under hypnosis. One of her most notable theories involved the concept of souls coming together to form the population on Earth, arriving in what she called 3 waves of volunteers. According to Cannon, the first wave of volunteers are souls who initially found it difficult to adjust to life on Earth. They often felt uncomfortable and struggled with the violence and negativity in the world. The second wave are souls who were more comfortable here and often work as healers or spread positive energy through their very presence. The third wave are the newest souls, often children with advanced abilities and a higher level of consciousness, here to help the Earth transition into a new era. Another fascinating aspect of her work was her sessions with clients under deep hypnosis. Many of these clients would recall past lives, sometimes in great detail. Through these regressions, Cannon explored themes such as reincarnation, karma, and the soul's journey. She documented many of these sessions in her books, providing a unique perspective on human existence and the nature of reality. What do you think of this?
Of course, the young people are already there. Their DNA is already where it's supposed to be when they come in. They're so advanced. They're there already. That's the third wave. The gift of the world are these children.
The sun is not up there, so where's the light coming from? So the light came from the rocket?
Oh, that doesn't.
It's getting brighter too, like it's a portal into us or something. That's what it looks like.
A family was out at night enjoying a quiet evening when they took this astonishing footage of the sky. There was a mesmerizing blue light piercing through the clouds, casting an ethereal glow. It looked as though it was coming from a light source hidden behind the clouds. However, the sun had set a while ago, leaving everyone puzzled about the origin of this mysterious light. There are numerous natural phenomena that could potentially explain this, such as atmospheric refraction, electrical storms, or even rare auroras. Yet in this age of unexplained occurrences and advanced technology, it's hard to say for sure if this is purely a natural phenomenon. What if there is some sort of life form responsible for this? Could this blue light be an indication of extraterrestrial activity or advanced technology at work?
The sun is not up there, so where's the light coming from? So the light came from the rocket?
Oh, that doesn't.
In Perth, Australia, a witness shared this strange footage of the night sky, and it's left a lot of people scratching their heads. In the video, you can see this glowing green orb up in the sky. It looks like it's slowly falling downward, almost like a meteor, but it keeps appearing and disappearing as it moves. 1 second it's there, glowing bright, and the next it's just gone. Then it pops back into view, lower than before, then disappears again. This isn't something you see every day. Some are saying this might be a UFO that could be phasing in and out of our dimension, only visible at certain points as it travels down. That would explain the flickering effect, right? But if it's slipping through realities or cloaking itself, that might be what we are seeing. Others are more skeptical, suggesting maybe it's a flare or a drone or even a meteor with some odd atmospheric effect, but those who were there, they swear it wasn't like anything they'd seen before. So what do you think this was? A craft from another dimension, a cloaked visitor, or just a natural phenomenon that fooled the camera? There are a lot of missing persons cases, especially those involving people who go hiking or camping in deep forests and never come back. If a wild animal has been involved, you'd expect to find some signs of torn clothing, blood, and even tracks, but in many of these cases, there's nothing. That's why some people believe something else is going on, something unnatural, and one case in particular has people shaken. A video was recovered deep in the woods. It belonged to a man who'd gone camping alone and had never returned. The footage captured on his camera was found by a search party several days later, just lying in the dirt. The video starts off calmly. He's filming the forest, setting up his tent, and talking about how peaceful the area is. But later that night, things take a dark turn. While he was trying to sleep, he began hearing strange noises outside his tent and something brushing against the fabric. You can hear the fear in his voice as he whispers to the camera, unsure of what's out there. Then something reaches into the tent. Panicked, he unzips the tent and runs into the darkness, filming everything as he sprints through the trees. At some point, he stumbles into an area filled with strange wooden formations, so he stops to catch his breath, pans the camera around, and that's when we see it. A tall, slender, bipedal creature. It was pale as bone and standing right in front of him. The camera is shaking too much to catch its face clearly, but its form is impossible to miss. Then the footage cuts out abruptly, and that was the last time anyone saw him. To this day, the man has never been found. His body was never recovered. All that remained was that unsettling video. Many believe the creature in the video was a skinwalker. If that's true, then what happened to this man might not be an isolated incident. How many others have vanished into the trees and were never to be seen again?
Leave me alone.
Someone shared this intriguing footage they had taken of the sky. In the footage, you can see a cloud with some dark figures within it. These figures look like entities that are lined up, creating an eerie and mysterious scene. As the camera zooms in, the figures become more distinct but still remain enigmatic. They appear almost humanoid, standing in a row, their forms contrasting starkly against the lighter cloud. The sight is both fascinating and unsettling, sparking curiosity and a sense of wonder. What could these dark figures be? Are they simply shadows cast by the interplay of light and cloud formations, or is there something more to this sighting? And for our final clip, we've got an interesting one. Someone shared this with us, claiming it was a UFO coming out of a hurricane. Now, this is the first that I've heard of that, but what do you think will make a UFO go through a hurricane? Is it starting these hurricanes? Is it hiding something in them? Or is it merely camouflage? It's hard to say, plus there's no guarantee this thing is real anyway, but if it was real, what do you think would be going on here? Share your thoughts in the comments section. There is something very strange going on in Venezuela right now. A woman monitoring a live feed of radiation data noticed the alarming level spiked off the charts, showing extreme radiation in the country, and this isn't normal at all. And here's where it gets even more concerning. According to the same tracking sources, there are warships already moving toward Venezuela. That raises the question, why? So what exactly is happening here? If this radiation is in the air, then people could already be at serious risk. But what if it's coming from something else? Could there have been a secret nuclear accident, something buried underground that has just leaked, or maybe even a weapons test that nobody's talking about? Some people online are already speculating that it could even be linked to something not of this world. Radiation spikes are often connected to UFO sightings and strange aerial phenomena. The scary part is that no official explanation is being given, just silent warships moving closer and radiation climbing higher. So is this the start of a cover-up, or is Venezuela about to become ground zero for something much bigger?
Did someone drop a bomb up there? Was there some type of a nuclear explosion? Something is going on. There's warships headed over there. What happened? What happened?
Next, we visit Mexico, where a lady had a very strange encounter. She was going about her business as always, using a path she's familiar with. On this day, however, she heard something unfamiliar, something strange and disturbing. It sounded like a man most of the time, but also like an animal because, well, there was no words being spoken. Confused and scared, she started recording and calling out to whatever was in the bushes. At first, it hushes her. Then, a few seconds later, it says hello. The woman is clearly freaking out by now, and as though that were not enough, it finally then says, "Come here." At this point, the lady's had enough and makes a run for it. When she uploaded the clip, many told her that whatever that thing was, it was trying to lure her into the woods. The big question many had, however, was what exactly was it that she encountered?
Hola. Ay, no mames. Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames, no mames. A ver. Mira que se oye.
Two men decided to explore an abandoned sewer tunnel, hoping to uncover some mysteries locked within. There seemed to be a sealed mesh door blocking their entry. Despite their efforts, the door was impossible to open, forcing them to remain outside the tunnel. As they lingered, strange sounds began to echo from deep within the tunnel. They were eerie noises that seemed to carry a mysterious presence. The men couldn't see anything beyond the mesh, but the sounds were enough to send chills down their spines. Some believe it could be an animal, while others suspect something more sinister, perhaps a cryptid. Aaron suspects the latter, but what say you?
Check this video. Did we get that? Yes.
Ooh, a fairy. Wait, actually, what the hell? Guys, that does not look like an ordinary mug. Okay, I'm catching this fairy, bro. What the frick?
In this next footage, a group of friends was hanging out late one night when something unexpected flew by. At first glance, it seemed to be a glowing insect like a firefly. That's what everyone thought until it got closer to the camera. As the creature approached, it became clear that this was no ordinary firefly. Unlike fireflies, which only have a small glowing spot in their bodies, this creature's entire body seemed to glow. Its wings moved incredibly fast, making it difficult to make out distinct features, but the way it darted around was mesmerizing. What could this be? Most insects are easy to identify, but this one's glowing form and unusual movement have led many to believe this could be a fairy. What do you think?
Ooh, a fairy. Wait, actually, what the hell? Guys, that does not look like an ordinary mug. Okay, I'm catching this fairy, bro. What the frick?
At this point, it feels like humans have tried just about everything for entertainment, and sometimes when we run out of ideas, we come up with the most unusual ways to have fun. Take this for example. In Iowa, there's an actual event known as the husband calling contest. Yeah, you heard that right. Contestants step up on stage and show off their most creative, loudest, or funniest ways of calling out for their husbands. Take a look at this. It might sound strange, but believe it or not, this is a well-known and beloved tradition out there. People gather every year just to watch and laugh at participants competing to see who can call their husband in the most memorable way.
David! David! David Allen! Gary? Gary? Gary! Gary! The devil went down to the Iowa State Fair. She was looking for a husband to call. She said,
A woman named Rebecca recently shared something online that sent chills through everyone who heard it. She received a strange voice message that didn't come from any number she recognized. When she played it back, the voice said something bizarre. Take a listen.
This is probably one of the creepiest voicemails I have ever gotten.
Hi, you don't know me, and I don't think you'll find out who I am. But since you're a TikTok investigator, or wannabe, let's see if you can find out. Let's play a little game. Did you like the trunk in your backyard? Go out and find out what's in it. And I bet nobody will get involved because it's silly.
Like, what was that at the end?
The person said that a truck had been left in a backyard, but here's the terrifying part. According to Rebecca, she has no idea who could have sent the message, and she definitely doesn't know anything about a truck being on a property. Even stranger, when she checked her backyard, she actually found a food truck parked there without her knowledge or permission. She insists she doesn't know who left it, how it got there, or why someone would even send her that message in the first place. And the voice on the recording didn't sound like anyone she knew. Creepy, right? Imagine waking up hearing that voicemail and then actually seeing a truck sitting in your backyard. What would you even do?
Did you like the trunk in your backyard? Go out and find out what's in it. And I bet nobody will get involved because it's silly.
Like, what was that at the end? The end is what creeps me out.
And I bet nobody will get involved because it's too.
Where's he gone? What's up, man?
A man was alone in the woods and decided to turn on his camera and record his surroundings. While scanning the area, he captured something eerie. There was an old figure walking by. The figure had the shape of an older person draped in a robe. What made the sighting particularly unsettling was how the figure seemed to appear out of nowhere, walking calmly before disappearing right next to an abandoned structure in the woods. After the figure disappeared, he walked closer to check if it was an actual person, but there was no one there.
Where's he gone? What's up, man?
I really miss home. I hate being here. Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
So this clip starts off casually with what looks like a serene and everyday scene. A man is on screen talking to his audience. A few seconds in, and something unusual starts to happen. The sweater on his bed falls, but that's not so weird, right? After all, clothing can and actually does fall when not placed correctly. Either way, he gets distracted by it and turns around. Just as he's looking at it, something moves violently in his closet. After watching the clip, it just didn't add up, so I searched for the original post and discovered something. The man in the clip claims he was recording a vlog for his family back home while stationed in Iraq, expressing his love and longing for them when an eerie voice and his locker door slamming open abruptly left him terrified, prompting him to request a room change. In other words, he heard a voice there before the movements, which makes him believe there was a ghost there with him. Naturally, this has left the community divided. Some claim it has to be real, whereas others are skeptical, stating no true soldier would share the details of his assignment, let alone place something like this online. You've seen the clip. What do you guys also think?
Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
This strange clip comes from a woman who was having a simple night in, just Netflix, snacks, and her dog. At one point, she got up to use the bathroom, but when she came back, she noticed this. Sitting beside her dog was the blanket she'd been using earlier, only it wasn't flat. The blanket was standing upright, as if something underneath was holding it up. The woman froze, but oddly enough, her dog didn't react. He just sat calmly watching the blanket and her reaction. For a long moment, the shape didn't move. Finally, she gathered the courage to swat it. The blanket collapsed instantly, but nothing was underneath. She later explained that while the experience terrified her, she didn't get a sense that the entity was harmful. Still, the idea that something unseen had been sitting right there under the blanket is disturbing enough. So was it a harmless spirit just trying to hang out, or something else hiding under the covers?
Is somebody there? I'm freaking out. Why is it sitting up like that? That's so weird. I got up off the couch.
In Russia, there's a mysterious broadcast known as the Doomsday Clock Signal, or more commonly, the buzzer, UVB-76. It's been transmitting a strange buzzing sound for decades, only breaking its monotony with rare voice messages. Recently, the signal changed, and listeners around the world were stunned. Instead of the usual static and tones, a voice came on and clearly spoke two words: Azo, Tabak, and Ashlon. Nobody knows what they mean. This immediately set off speculation online. Some people believe it's a coded message for Russian military units, possibly linked to the ongoing war with Ukraine. With Russia and the US also exchanging tense words about the conflict, many fear this transmission could be a warning of escalation or even a signal for something darker to begin. Others argue it might just be a psychological tactic to stir fear and confusion, but given the buzzer's long-standing reputation as a potential emergency broadcast system for nuclear war, even a simple phrase makes people uneasy. So what do you think this meant?
Just days after rumors of a Trump and Putin talk about Ukraine retaliation, UVB-76 broadcast two strange Russian code words: Azotobak and Oshelin. No one knows what they mean, but they're never random. Some people say it's part of Russia's nuclear program, part of their nuclear command system. Others think it's just a bluff, just trying to scare people. Either way, when the Doomsday Radio speaks, the world listens.
For the longest time, we hear scientists warning us about global warming, saying that the Earth is going to get hotter and hotter. But I guess nature has a sense of humor. Take a look at these hailstorms, ice falling from the sky. We're talking about hailstones the size of golf balls or even larger, wreaking havoc on everything in their path. Cars get dented, windows are shattered, and crops are destroyed. It's like nature's way of saying, "Think you have me all figured out? Well, think again." What's even more puzzling is that these hailstorms often occur during the warmer months. Just when we think we should be enjoying summer sun, we get belted by ice from above. How does this align with the narrative of a warming planet? I mean, if the atmosphere is supposed to be getting hotter, shouldn't we have warm water falling down to us and not solid chilled ice? Well, it turns out there's a science explaining it. Hailstorms occur during warmer months because thunderstorms driven by warm, moist air rising and creating strong updrafts can lift moisture to altitudes where it freezes and forms hail. Global warming increases the energy and moisture in the atmosphere, potentially intensifying these thunderstorms and making hail more likely. Despite the overall trend of rising temperatures, local weather variability still allows for cold upper atmospheric conditions necessary for hail formation. Thus, hailstorms are consistent with a warming planet, demonstrating the complex and dynamic nature of climate change. I know the last part was a bit complex, but science is always complex when Julius is away. I miss that guy.
Why is you looking at me sideways? Why is you coming at me sideways? Do I know you from somewhere? What's up with you?
A man was walking home one night when this stray cat approached him. As you can see, the cat's head is unnaturally twisted sideways. Despite this, it appeared fine and started to walk toward the man. It cried out to him, and as it got closer, its cries became more unsettling, almost as if it were trying to communicate something. The man, feeling a mix of fear and curiosity, kept his distance. I mean, if I were him out at night and a kitty cat came to me in this state, I would keep my distance too. The way the cat moved, combined with its unnaturally twisted neck, gave it an almost otherworldly presence. Aaron, our in-house conspiracy theorist for those new to this platform, is convinced without reasonable doubt that this cat is a skinwalker. I wanted to believe this too, but someone made a profound statement in the comments section of the original post. He suggested that the cat's twisted neck is a birth defect, not anything supernatural. Once I read the comment, I wondered why that never came to me in the first place. Anyway, what do you guys think it is? A bad skinwalker transformation or a cat with a birth defect? Share your thoughts and, if possible, experiences. I will be reading.
Why is you looking at me sideways? Why is you coming at me sideways? Do I know you from somewhere? What's up with you?
As disturbing as the concept of ghosts might be, sometimes humans are even scarier. The clip on your screen was captured by a couple who'd set up cams in a blind spot of their home. They at first made sure there was no hidden cameras in their home when they moved in, but as time went on, they started hearing strange sounds around the house, specifically the attic. They then set up a camera system to monitor the area, and what you're seeing was captured by that system. It wasn't a ghost or a spirit moving through their home. No, it was a neighbor of theirs. But why? Why was he doing that? Well, the answer's simple. He was trying to set up his own camera so he could peep or spy on them. Yeah, that's actually what you're seeing. Had the family not been proactive, they would have been exposed to someone without knowing. Thankfully, with this video evidence, they were able to get authorities involved. The man was then arrested and sentenced. Interesting, huh? This photo comes straight out of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. This place is already famous for legends of the Jersey Devil. Someone claimed to have captured this strange winged creature mid-flight. At first glance, you might think it's just a bird or a bat, but look closer. The wings look far too large, and the body itself seems to be holding on to something smaller, almost as if it's carrying prey. But the overall shape doesn't really match any animal we know. Now, locals have long said that the Jersey Devil lurks in these woods with wings, hooves, and a terrifying shriek. And for those who believe, this image could be one of the rarest moments where the legend shows itself. Skeptics, of course, argue it's either a bird caught at a strange angle or maybe even a hoax, but the truth is, the Pine Barrens have always carried a dark reputation, and this sighting only adds fuel to the mystery. So what do you think? Is this just a misidentified animal, or could it actually be the Jersey Devil caught on camera? This footage was taken by a man who had noticed something moving in his house. He had security cameras installed and would occasionally check the live feed on his phone while he was away to ensure everything was okay. During one of these routine checks, he noticed something strange. There on the live feed was a ghostly orb, a white smoke-like entity floating around the room. It moved slowly and almost deliberately, weaving in and out of the furniture as if it were exploring the space. Intrigued and a bit unsettled, he hurried home, and right before he entered the house, watching the feed again, the entity was still there, floating eerily. But as soon as he entered the house, it vanished without a trace, no sign of it anywhere. He checked every room, corner, and crevice, but there was nothing unusual. The entity was gone, leaving him with only the haunting footage and a sense of unease. This is so weird. The entity just vanished. Was it a ghost, a spirit, or something else entirely? What do you think happened? Back in January of this year, 2024, a Trailcam owner set up a camera in the woodlands of Alberta. They were responding to reports of wolves in the area and hoped to catch a glimpse of them. What they captured, however, is something you have to see to believe. In the Trailcam capture, you can see a path flanked by thick bushes on both sides. Now pay close attention to the left side of the screen. About 3 feet from the camera, a buck's head briefly emerges from behind the brush before quickly retreating. But that's not the most intriguing part. On the opposite side, something truly extraordinary happens. Emerging from the brush, you can see a bipedal creature that stands about 7 to 8 feet tall. It moves stealthily, blending in with its surroundings. It's easy to miss, camouflaged so well among the trees and leaves. But if you look closely, it's clear that this is no ordinary human. The bulging muscles and massive legs are enough to confirm this being is built differently. The Trailcam owner is even convinced that what we are seeing is the big guy himself, Bigfoot. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that assessment given its sheer size and the way it moves. But then again, maybe these are just the words of a longtime Bigfoot enthusiast. So for objectivity's sake, what do you guys think is going on here? Some researchers recently made a breakthrough that's either really cool or seriously unsettling. They managed to create spiders that spin red fluorescent webs. How did they do it? Well, the scientists use CRISPR-Cas9, a powerful gene-editing tool, and injected it directly into the spider's eggs. With some genetic tweaking, they altered the silk-producing genes to include a fluorescent protein. This resulted in webs that glow a vivid red under certain light conditions, and this is something that's never been naturally observed before. It's definitely an impressive scientific feat, but should we be doing this? Spiders are already a major fear for a lot of people. Now imagine walking into your garage or your dark room and seeing glowing red webs stretching across the walls. Not exactly comforting. Some argue that this could help in things like biomedical research, tracking environmental toxins, or even creating ultra-strong fibers for tech and construction. But others are more cautious. What happens if these genetically edited spiders get out in the wild? It might sound paranoid, but when you start rewriting nature, especially creatures as delicate and unpredictable as spiders, it always carries a bit of a risk. So is this a step forward for science, or are we tampering with things we don't fully understand? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, glowing red webs are real now. Would you eat a parasite if I gave you $1 million? Well, I'm no psychic, but I can already hear some of you in your homes shouting, hell no, and, well, yeah, I'm one of them. Before you say any more, allow me to tell you that you've been eating them all along if you've ever had any of these sweets. Hidden in the scarlet glow of your favorite candy or the rosy hue of the luscious dessert lies a dark parasitic secret. The cochineal bug. These tiny vampiric insects cling to cacti, draining them of life, only to be harvested by humans for their blood-red essence, carminic acid. Crushed and processed, their pigment becomes a prized dye used in sweets, yogurts, and even juices, cloaked behind names like Natural Red 4 or E120. Most unsuspecting consumers have no idea that the vivid colors in their treats are born from the dried remains of these clingy crimson parasites, nature's hidden ink, staining our palates with beauty and a whisper of the bizarre. Now that you know the truth, assuming you didn't see our earlier episode, would you keep indulging in your treats, or are you done with them now? The idea of living in a simulation is something that has intrigued humanity for years, and it's only gaining more traction. Recently, I came across a fascinating video on Instagram by MacLeod. In it, he delves into the story of Robert Monroe, a man whose experience might just challenge everything we believe about reality.
Do you welcome Robert Monroe? What is an out-of-body experience?
Well, an out-of-body experience is a state of being, a state of awareness, a state of action, separate and apart from the physical body. About 25% of the population throughout the world, I guess, has this spontaneously take place that they're aware of at least once in their lifetime.
Robert Monroe had incredible natural abilities to leave his body, to see things he shouldn't have seen. Long story short, Bob Monroe wanted to make sure that number one, he wasn't crazy, and number two, that his experiences were replicable by a scientific process.
Robert Monroe was an influential figure, widely known for his ability to astral project, which is essentially to leave his physical body and explore the world in a non-physical form. Through these experiences, Monroe reportedly uncovered insights that suggest our existence may not be as real as we think. He even provided explanations and accounts that point to the possibility that we're living in a simulated reality. In his writings and teachings, Monroe detailed what he encountered during his astral travels, dimensions beyond our own, beings with extraordinary capabilities, and most strikingly, the idea that our world could be an elaborate construct. This wasn't just a speculation. Monroe spent years refining his technique and documenting his findings, drawing both believers and skeptics. So what do you think? Could Monroe have truly tapped into something beyond, or is it just another theory about the nature of existence?
What happens? What happens? Well, what happens is that you as an individual suddenly find yourself, for one reason or another, apart from your physical body, and yet you can think, you can be, you can act, but your physical body is in some other location. It may be only 2 inches away or 2,000 miles away.
Okay, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If we shut the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
This footage, reportedly taken in Antarctica, has been labeled as forbidden and has sparked a wave of speculation. The video shows a fleet of disc-shaped UFOs flying in formation, heading toward a specific direction in the sky. The idea of Antarctica being a secret alien base has been a persistent theory in UFO lore. Supporters of this theory argue that the continent's remoteness, harsh climate, and restricted access make it an ideal location for extraterrestrial activity or covert operations. Does this footage lend credibility to those claims? What do you think?
Okay, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If we shut the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
This diver was out in the ocean when he took a quick selfie, but what showed up behind him is absolutely wild. At first glance, it's just a normal underwater selfie, but look closely. Right behind him is a massive creature lurking in the water. It's creeping up on him. The thing is huge, and it has this cold, almost menacing look in its eyes, like it's sizing him up for lunch. What's even crazier is that the diver seems completely unfazed. He's just chilling, posing for a photograph while this giant sea creature floats behind him. Now, at first, people online were losing their minds. Some thought it was a sea monster. Others even said it could be a cryptid. But turns out this isn't some unknown beast. It's just a giant moray eel. And while moray eels can definitely look terrifying, they're usually not aggressive unless provoked. These eels can grow up to 10 feet long, and their mouths are full of sharp teeth. They tend to hide in crevices and coral, but sometimes, like in this case, one might swim out into the open and end up photobombing a diver's selfie. So maybe it wasn't out to eat him, but, well, let's be real, that's one intense underwater surprise. Would you stay calm if you turned around and saw that behind you? This woman had just pulled down her nose mask to take a photograph, but what she captured is something most of us have never seen. Her entire face was streaked with blood, but not from an injury. There was no cut, no trauma, and yet her skin was stained red. But this isn't fake. This was her own blood, and it came from her paws. She suffers from an extremely rare condition called hematohydrosis. It's a mysterious and poorly understood disorder where a person literally sweats blood. Doctors believe it's linked to an extreme stress or anxiety where blood vessels surrounding the sweat glands rupture and leak blood into the glands, which then comes out through the skin. It's not something you hear about every day, and in fact, only a handful of cases have ever been documented worldwide. There's still a lot about hematohydrosis that science hasn't fully explained. Some say it's connected to deep emotional or psychological trauma. Others think it could be genetic. But either way, when you see someone with blood seeping from their face, the first thought that comes to mind isn't medical condition.
Möge deine Reise durch diese Welt dich mit wundervollen Augenblicken erfüllen.
When I started collecting clips for today's episode, I was open to a lot of things, but what I wasn't counting on was this, an AI-powered deity. If you were as confused as I am when I originally heard this, it's simple. There's a rendered face of Jesus powered by the power of AI that allows people to ask questions and receive responses. This has actually been installed in a Swiss church to take the confessions, and the intriguing thing is, 2/3 of those who attended to by this AI-powered God claim to have had a spiritual awakening. While I'm not here to argue over people's supernatural beliefs, Julius did mention something which I believe is worth discussing: privacy. The thing with AI is that it's learned by training on data. The likelihood of the confessions and data of the individuals who make them being stored somewhere is very high. This means it can be assessed by whoever is in charge of the whole thing. Beyond these privacy concerns, is an AI-powered God something you're willing and ready to worship and give into? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments section.
Möge deine Reise durch diese Welt dich mit wundervollen Augenblicken erfüllen.
UFO sightings seem to be growing more frequent and vivid lately, and this footage adds to the mystery.
Look at the way it looks. Look. Do y'all see that?
I told you.
That's a UFO, bro.
Right.
It was captured by a group of people one stormy night. The sky was lit with flashes of lightning. The weather was heavy, and rain was just about to fall. As the lightning illuminated the dark clouds, they noticed something unusual. There was a massive, circular object partially visible in the sky. The object appeared to have the classic saucer shape often associated with UFOs. It wasn't fully visible, almost as if it were cloaked or embedded within the clouds, but the brief lightning flashes gave just enough of a glimpse to raise questions. It's hard to dismiss this as just a trick of light. The structure appeared too defined and too deliberate to be a natural phenomenon. Could this be a craft hiding in plain sight?
What is that?
That's a UFO.
Oh shit.
You see it?
Yeah, it looks like a, oh.
What is that? Wait.
Look what we have here. This tiny-looking creature sitting right on someone's finger. At first glance, it almost looks like the facehugger alien from the movies, except this one is much, much smaller. Now, are these things even real? Well, some people are saying this could simply be AI-generated footage or some kind of trick. But with all the strange videos and evidence we've seen lately suggesting that aliens might already be amongst us, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to imagine something like this existing. Could this be a glimpse of a baby alien species, or maybe some type of unknown insect or organism we've never documented before? The clip on your screens was recently uploaded by a father who had gone to enjoy the woods with his kids. According to him, while they were concluding their time in the great outdoors, something happened that they hadn't anticipated. He asked his kids to wrap up their activities so they could return home. Just as they were about to do that, his son pointed toward the woods. He asked his dad what that was. He looks in that direction, and then he sees it. A strange-looking creature is heading in their direction. Once it notices it's been spotted, it jumps into one of the trees. Now, the man doesn't tell us much after this, but he asks us what we think it is. Some were quick to jump to the usual suspects, including the skinwalker. A few others were skeptical, though. They felt this looked too cartoonish, and even questioned how the man had already filmed this before the incident. They feel the man faked this for views and that the creature is most likely just bad CGI. What you've seen the clip, so what do you think? Have you ever heard about secret government missions that send soldiers to retrieve unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, that crash on Earth? Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But here's the kicker. The same government that allegedly conducts these missions also refuses to admit that UAPs exist. Even more intriguing, they're supposedly setting people up all over social media to discredit such claims. Yeah, that's wild. Listen to this and tell me what you think.
They don't want the public to know that there really is a crash retrieval program and that we are monitoring UAP in our airspace and water space. We can't control their actions and we don't fully understand their intentions. That's a dangerous thing to leak to the public, and so they are deliberately falsifying it and exploiting people, making them appear as wackos, thus creating a stigma behind the whole scene, which has prevented serious scientific study.
The disinformation is just to discredit whoever is...
Yeah, and it's happening overtly today. That office is doing it. There are individuals who I will not name, who I believe are getting paid. Every day they get out online, and their number one job is to discredit these national authorities. People like Lou Elizondo, who was with the task force, the UAP task force. He is 100% who he says he is, and what he says he's seen and knows, I have total confidence in. He's an active target.
One of the few people brave enough to speak up about these things is a man called Luis Elizondo. He's a former Pentagon official who led the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP for short. Elizondo has been quite vocal about the existence of UAPs and has even hinted at these secret retrieval missions. He believes there's much more to the story than what the public is being told. It's a fascinating and somewhat unsettling topic. If these missions are real, what are they finding? Why the secrecy? And what does it mean for our understanding of the universe and our place in it? I'd love to hear what you think about this.
We can't control their actions, and we don't fully understand their intentions. That's a dangerous thing to leak to the public, and so they are deliberately falsifying it and exploiting people, making them appear as wackos, thus creating a stigma behind the whole scene, which has prevented serious scientific study.
A woodcraft survivalist in the UK once built a wooden shelter in the woods for camping, but came back the next day to find it dismantled. Initially, he thought it was the work of kids or vandals, so he set up a trail camera in the area to catch whoever was responsible.
There's a figure at night time that's in the right-hand side of, I believe it's camera 6. Starts off, comes out of the woodland, and then all of a sudden it seems to trigger the camera again, but whoever it is shouldn't be there. They haven't got permission to be there. It's only me. I've phoned the landowner Chris.
What he found, however, left him both excited and shocked. In the dead of the night, the camera captured a dark figure moving among the trees. The creature was bipedal, and its structure suggested it was quite large. Once he saw the creature, he had his own theories, but he uploaded it online to see what others would say. Some thought it was a person moving around in the dark, while others believed it had to be our favorite big guy, Bigfoot. Being the Bigfoot enthusiast that he is, he'd already concluded that there was a high possibility that the being was Bigfoot. He just needed to confirm, and the fact that some thought it was the big guy himself was enough proof for him. You guys have seen the clip. What do you think we're dealing with here?
There's a figure at night time that's in the right-hand side of, I believe it's camera 6. Starts off, comes out of the woodland, and then all of a sudden it seems to trigger the camera again, but whoever it is shouldn't be there.
This image was taken by a hiker up in the Nevada Ruby Mountains. While admiring the landscape, he noticed something strange flying across the horizon. At first he thought it might just be a bird, but when he zoomed in, the wings didn't look like anything from any ordinary bird at all. Not only that, the size was way off. This thing looked far bigger than any bird should be. So what exactly are we looking at here? Could this be some kind of cryptid like the legendary thunderbird often reported in Native American folklore, or maybe something not yet discovered, not from this world at all? When you go ghost hunting in a cemetery at night, you already expect an unsettling experience, but nothing could have prepared this group of ghost hunters for what they captured. They'd been walking amongst the gravestones, snapping random photographs here and there, but later, when they reviewed the shots, something chilling appeared. In one of the photos, there was a humanoid figure crouched over a grave. Its hand seems to be reaching out, touching the stone. The figure is not blurry in a way you'd expect from light tricks or smoke. You can see the outline of its head, shoulders, and arms clearly. It looks like a body made of mist, but shaped too perfectly to be an accident. The hunters thought they'd left the cemetery empty-handed, but this single image proves otherwise. A ghostly figure right there among the graves. What do you think? Still on near-death experiences, take a look at this footage that was taken by a passenger on a plane that had lost its wheels mid-flight. It was a United Airlines flight that had taken off from Los Angeles Airport. The footage shows a view through the windows, and everything outside looks surprisingly smooth. As the camera panned around the cabin, you could see that most passengers were calm, though a few were chanting, "Brace, brace, brace." Despite the terrifying situation, the pilots and crew managed the crisis expertly. The plane even landed safely without any incidents or casualties, an incredible testament to the skill and competence of the crew. Even though it ended well, it was undoubtedly a scary situation for everyone on board. A scenario like this would certainly test anyone's nerves. Next, we've got some captivating footage from a home security camera in Mexico that caught something extraordinary on a stormy night. It's evident from the clip that the camera is positioned outside a house, providing an elevated view of the surroundings. The night is alive with the flashes of lightning and the rumble of thunder, creating a dramatic backdrop for what's about to happen. You can also see the sea in the distance. Suddenly, out of the darkness, a light appears. It moves steadily from the horizon towards the land. You can even see its reflection shimmering on the surface of the sea. A second look at the light, and you can tell it's some sort of craft, despite being so far away in the dark. No human crafts move the way this appears to move, and not many human crafts have this much light emanating from it. This leaves one possibility of an alien spacecraft. But is that even possible? Well, Aaron, our conspiracy theorist, and hundreds of others who believe in the paranormal believe that's the case. What say you? Take a close look at this image. What do you see through that door? This was captured during a firefighter training exercise. The team was running drills in an abandoned house that had been set on fire as part of the simulation. Everything was going as planned. The team was moving in as instructed, preparing to enter through the front when someone noticed something strange. Right there at the open doorway, this eerie humanoid figure seems to be peeking out. At first, you might think it's just the flames and shadows playing tricks, but look closer. It's not just fire. This thing has shape and form, and what's creeping everyone out was the face. It almost looks like a person engulfed in flames, but somehow smiling, leaning slightly from behind the door frame and staring straight at the firefighters. But there was no one else inside the building. It was confirmed empty. Everyone is accounted for. So if that's not one of the firefighters and there's no victim inside, what exactly are we looking at? Some are saying it's just the way the fire formed for a brief second, an illusion, but others believe this could be some kind of entity that made itself visible for just that moment. This man is Israel Adesanya, a well-known MMA champion, but he's doing something during a press conference that has some people raising eyebrows. Almost every time he's at the table for media events, you'll notice a Monster Energy drink placed right in front of him, just like it is for most athletes under sponsorship deals. But he always moves it away. He doesn't drink it, he just subtly pushes it to the side, almost like he doesn't even want to be associated with it. Now, for those who don't know, there's been a long-standing conspiracy theory about the Monster Energy brand. Some believe the logo and imagery are linked to something demonic or cult-like. Whether you buy into that or not, a number of people refuse to drink it because of these claims. The fact that he probably pushes the drink away, despite how much branding is involved, definitely makes you wonder what's really going on with Monster Energy. Either that or he's just incredibly clever and understands that those kind of drinks are basically just like drinking crap and you shouldn't put those drinks anyway near your system. Imagine sitting in a quiet office, casually monitoring the security cameras at your workplace when something chilling catches your eye. This is exactly what happened to a shop manager who was reviewing footage late one evening. On the monitor, he noticed a pale face peeking out from behind the door. It looked like the face of a woman, but half of her face appeared distorted, almost as though it was melting or unnaturally blurred. Startled, the manager quickly turned his phone camera to a point at the actual door, expecting to see someone there. But when he looked directly at the spot where the face should have been, there was no one there. It became clear that the security camera was capturing something his eyes couldn't see, possibly an entity or ghost lingering in the shop. Who could this mysterious figure be? Was she someone tied to the shop's past, or just a lost soul making her presence known? Everyone is entitled to their beliefs, especially when it comes to religion. For Christians, faith in Jesus is central, though most have never seen him in person, only relying on stories from the Bible. But what if someone actually captured an image of him? This photograph, taken by a woman on a plane, has sparked that very question. She was flying during a storm when turbulence began to shake the aircraft violently. As fear gripped her, she said a quick prayer, asking for protection and calm. Miraculously, just minutes later, the storm subsided and a strange sense of peace filled the cabin. Compelled by an unexplainable urge, she reached for her camera and snapped a picture out of the window into the stormy skies. She didn't think much of it until after she landed and took the photo to be developed. When she saw the image, she was stunned. There, in the clouds, was the figure of a man in a white robe with arms outstretched. She believes this was Jesus appearing to her in the midst of the storm. The story has left many wondering. What are your thoughts? Do you believe this woman captured an image of Jesus, or is it open to interpretation? This next clip was captured on a bar's security camera. Watch behind the counter. A woman is mixing drinks as usual. She grabs a second bottle, begins to pour it into the cup, when suddenly the glass bottle flies right out of her hand and across the counter. Now, look at her reaction. She doesn't scream, doesn't even react. She just stands there almost frozen, as if this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Some people say the whole thing was staged, using a string attached to the bottle and pulled to make it look like a paranormal event. But others are convinced that this is the real deal and that the bar itself could be haunted and the staff are used to unexplainable things like this happening. What do you think? This next video comes from Indonesia, recorded by bikers who were riding late at night outside of town. After a long ride, they decided not to head home but to crash in an abandoned building where locals sometimes hang out. Everything seemed fine until, in the middle of the night, one of them woke up. He said he suddenly felt a chill of unease, like he was being watched, so he grabbed his phone, pointed at the window, and that's when things got strange. If you look closely at the footage, you can see the windows, but you can barely see anything outside in the darkness. He described it as a thin, shadowy figure just standing there and staring in. He panicked, woke his friends, and they bolted out of the building, leaving their camp behind. When he uploaded the video online, reactions were split. Some say there's nothing there at all, just his imagination, but others say they see a dark figure moving at the window, like something or someone was outside. So take a close look. Do you see anything at that window, or is that just fear turning shadows into phantoms? This woman was driving across a bridge, just going about her everyday business. Everything seemed perfectly normal until out of nowhere a car from the incoming lane hits her truck and she suddenly veers off the road. Her dash cam captures every terrifying moment. Given she's driving a semi, she goes through the steel rails like it was butter, which leaves a car teetering dangerously on the edge. The hood of a car flies off from the impact, and the vehicle dangles halfway over the edge of a bridge. It's a close call. I mean, she was literally seconds away from disaster. You can almost feel the adrenaline and fear she must have felt in that moment. It's like one of those scenes where you can't help but hold your breath, hoping for a miracle. It's chilling to think about how differently things could have ended. She was lucky to escape this near-death experience without having met death. Not many can say that. Humans have come up with countless explanations for a lot of things, but death remains a profound enigma. No one really knows what happens after we're gone, or if we even truly are gone.
Look, guys, gone in 2021.
Wait.
It's a wild guess why, but
Look.
we're running
binary codes.
binary codes here, guys, off the thing.
Get away from me.
Guys, we're right here at the cemetery, and this person was gone in 2023, and we're collecting binary codes. We have both of our phones on airplane mode, so it collects no binary codes at all. But when you get close to her grave, look, you had a number right there. Get close. Look, 2022, guys. Binary codes up the ass right there.
These men are no different and decided to visit the graveyard to run what I would call a little experiment. They had a device that could detect data and present it in binary code. With this device, they decided to approach graves and see if they would pick up anything. When they approached the grave of someone who had died in 2021, the device started presenting binary codes which were supposed to be coming from the grave. They tried the same thing on another grave dated 2023, and the device again read codes as soon as it got closer to the grave. Is this evidence that the dead are not as silent as we once thought? They did believe so, and that's what they were trying to communicate. But individuals under their post had a different take. This user, for instance, believes that they were recording data from the graphene rather than the individuals in the grave. Julius isn't here to teach us or inform us of this fact, and I also couldn't find anything online when I did my research. If there is an expert amongst you who can explain what's going on here, please do so in the comments section. I would pin your comment when I see it so we could all learn. Until that comment comes, what do you guys think? Could the dead really be attempting to make contact, or are we just recording data from the natural environment like these users said?
Look, 2022, guys. Binary codes up the ass right there. There's information coming out of the graves, guys.
Next to the big question, are we alone in this universe, is another. Do superpowered beings live amongst us? While many find the thought laughable, to some the clip playing right now is proof that they are. The clip starts off normally, showing a young girl modeling in front of an audience. The strange thing, however, is that once she moves her arms, everyone in the direction where she does that falls. It's almost as though some telekinetic power comes forth from her. There are some who believe that's actually what happened, and a few others who feel the whole thing is, well, just a big coincidence. If you know anything about the internet, then you know this ended up in a full-blown debate. It's actually still ongoing. You've seen the clip, so what's your take? A man was spending time at the mountainside playing fetch with his dog. He threw the object for his dog to catch, but as the camera followed, something unexpected appeared in the background. If you look closely at the sky behind the dog, you'll notice a strange object zipping by at incredible speed. It was so fast, in fact, that you could barely catch it with the naked eye. When the footage was slowed down, the object became a bit clearer, but it's still puzzling. It doesn't look like any insect. It's too fast to be a bird, and its trajectory seems unnatural. Many believe what was captured here could be a UFO moving far faster than anything we'd expect to see in a peaceful game of fetch. Just watch how quickly it darts across the sky. What are your thoughts? This next video was shared by a couple who just moved into a new apartment, but what was supposed to be a fresh start quickly turned into something else entirely. Not long after settling in, they started noticing strange things. First, small objects moved without explanation, and then came odd noises at night. At first, they brushed it off, but things didn't stop. They escalated. One night, the girlfriend was alone in the bedroom getting ready for bed. That's when she heard scratching. It was faint at first, but coming clearly from the bathroom. The bathroom door was slightly open, just enough for her to see the shower curtain from where she was, and that's when it happened. As the scratching grew louder and more aggressive, the shower curtain was violently yanked down. She screamed and ran out of the apartment immediately. Not long after, a boyfriend arrived. Shaken, they decided to block off the bathroom by covering the door with a curtain. Still, they didn't feel safe and ended up spending the night at a hotel. Not sure why they didn't just call the police, but they returned the next day where they encountered even stranger things. As they returned to their apartment, from the street below, they noticed something terrifying. The lights were on, and in the window, they saw a figure completely draped in black cloth from head to toe, just standing there, staring at them. When they finally gathered the courage to go upstairs, they found that the curtain they had used to block the bathroom door had been completely torn down, and the pins used to hold it in place were now carefully piled up right on top of the curtain. In their own words, they were horrified. There was no logical explanation except that someone or something was there with them. The thing, however, is there was no one, at least not in the sense of another human. They believe something is trying to scare them out of the apartment entirely. Looking at the clip, I'm tempted to agree, but the mystery is what and why. The human mind has a tendency to wander, especially when it comes to strange or unexplained things, and honestly, can you blame it? In a world where oddities are constantly being uncovered, it's not so wild to question even the most well-known landmarks. One such place, surrounded by mystery, is the Washington Monument. For years, conspiracies have swirled around its true origins, and one of the strangest theories is that the monument was actually built to cover up a man-eating tree. There are old photographs from before the monument was constructed, and in some of them, a tree stands exactly where the monument now rises. According to the legend, it was a tree that consumed humans. The story goes that the government knew about the tree, and rather than destroy it or risk people discovering it, they decided to build around it. The monument would serve as the perfect disguise. Could this be true? Those who visited the Washington Monument know that there's an elevator inside that takes you all the way to the top, where you get a breathtaking view of the city. But still, if the man-eating tree was real, could it still be hidden somewhere deep within the structure? After all, we only see what they want us to see. We all know about Tesla's popular inventions and patents, but there are some projects he's worked on before passing away that would absolutely blow your mind. He sketched designs for anti-gravity crafts that could fly without wings. Before neuroscience even became a mainstream field, Tesla was already preparing a device that could read and interpret brainwaves. He built a small oscillator machine that shook his entire lab, and witnesses say it felt like an actual earthquake, earning it the nickname the Earthquake Machine. He even attempted to generate electricity straight from the weather itself, pulling raw power from the planet. Tesla was also developing a directed energy beam weapon, which he claimed could melt metal from miles away. Even more shocking, he suggested creating tsunamis as a military defense by detonating powerful blasts deep in the ocean. During his Colorado Springs experiments, Tesla tried to collect and store energy from lightning itself, and one of his more futuristic claims was that he could one day see actual visionary images of our own thoughts, a concept we're slowly seeing emerge from today's brain-computer technology. Tesla even hinted that humans may have had interactions with beings not of this world, something that still fuels speculation about the hidden side of his work. These are crazy claims from back then, but in today's world, we are already close to these inventions. If you love going into the sea, well, you might want to skip this one, unless, of course, you can't be scared out of it. The photo on your screen was captured by a mum who was watching her husband come out of the sea with her little boy. It was a proud moment she wanted to immortalize, but she ended up capturing something more. Do you see the yellow substance around the man's leg? Not sure if you noticed, but it looks like an arm holding a weapon like a spear. Some think this is a mermaid in the water, moving to attack and drag the man to the bottom of the ocean. Others think it's just plastic or something else. The debate has been on, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a winner declared soon. Take a good look at the image and tell me what you think. There's been so much weirdness happening lately, it honestly feels like reality is glitching, but sometimes the truth is surprisingly simple. Take this footage for example. Someone walks into their room only to see the drawers opening and closing by themselves. Now, naturally, the first thought is definitely a ghost. It's a classic haunted house move, right? Random objects shifting on their own, no visible cause, eerily silence in the air. It's enough to freak anyone out, but plot twist. It wasn't a ghost. The person decided to investigate instead of running, and what they found was both hilarious and adorable. Inside the drawer was a cat, their cat, just casually hanging out, playing around, and completely unbothered. The feline had quietly slipped inside earlier without them noticing. From its cozy hiding spot, the cat had been pushing the drawers open and closed. So no demons or ghosts, just one sneaky cat causing a full-blown paranormal scare.
I hear the brush popping and stuff. Oh, there he goes. Jesus.
Back in 1999, Bigfoot researcher Paul Freeman went into the Blue Mountains of Washington state. Freeman had been exploring this remote region for years, hoping to find real evidence of the creature so many had only heard about. But on this particular trip, something strange happened. While making his way through the dense forest, Freeman suddenly heard branches snapping, heavy footfalls, and rustling coming from the trees nearby. Trusting his instincts, he quickly grabbed his video camera and began filming. And what he captured has remained one of the most talked about pieces of alleged Bigfoot footage to this day. In the grainy but compelling video, you can see a large upright figure estimated to be around 8 feet tall walking through the forest ahead of him. The creature appears muscular with a domed head and long arms that swing heavily as it moves. It vanishes into the trees after just a few seconds. Freeman's footage quickly spread across the paranormal community, becoming a major piece of evidence for Bigfoot believers. Many pointed to its authenticity, especially considering Freeman's reputation as a dedicated researcher. Skeptics were quick to respond. Some claimed the figure could have been a person in a costume, while others dismissed the whole thing as a hoax, but to this day, no one has definitely debunked the footage. So here we are, decades later, and the Freeman footage still stands as one of the most compelling visual recordings in Bigfoot history. What do you think?
Oh, there he goes. Jesus.
Jeez.
And easy.
Were you an annoying sibling? I know that I was. I was the horrible little younger brother from my sister. Man, I used to annoy the hell out of her. I would nick her cigarettes as well when he came of age. She used to smoke roll-ups. And I used to go into her bedroom and just steal. But yeah, when I was very young, I used to throw tennis balls at her and do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I was annoying. I was a little shit when I was young to my sister. We're very close now, though.
And easy on you. And he got it.
I've been Steve, and you have been watching Classified Captures. Now, I'm sorry about my pronunciations and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, if you guys have got any videos that you can give us, then please do. Share them with us at classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. If we like them, we'll stick it on an episode. On top of that, remember, if you want a shout-out, let me know. Put Steve shout-out in the comments. Tell me your name, where you're from, and the reason for the shout-out. And sure enough, when I do a next shout-out video, I'll mention you. Anyway, I'm out of here. Take it easy.